Hello, adventurers, travelers, and friends, and welcome back to a Braggworthy Adventures video. I'm your host, Rose, and today we're talking about how Braggworthy Adventures has started the process of van life. Deciding to do van life as a couple was a little disjointed. I first fell in love with van life by watching Ginty Fell. She has a YouTube channel. Her and her family have kind of road trip, traveled through Australia living in a van and then I think a bus at one point. And I loved this idea of being able to travel and also have your home and be able to keep your family routines but see new places and have sort of this freedom. And I wanted that for myself. I brought up the idea of van life in Australia, and Michael was definitely hesitant, not so sure about doing this in another country. Later, when we were talking about our larger trip that's coming up very soon, I thought instead of doing international travel and then jumping right back into the real world, we could perhaps add on 6 months of van travel and ease ourselves back in. And he was very open to this idea because, unbeknownst to me, he has always wanted to do a little road tripping through the US and see a lot more of the US. So we decided to add that on, and then later as the pandemic hit, we decided maybe we'll do the van life first before the international travel. So that's what we're planning. And obviously there are some things we need to do before we can be a part of van life, but I'm really excited to be a part of this phenomenon. I know that van life has really picked up in the last couple years. I think it really captures this idea that people have of wanting to minimize their space, their belongings, but maximize their experiences and their joy. And that's something I really believe in. So I'm excited to join the van lifers, and this is how we got started on that. So once Michael and I decided that we wanted to do van life, we had to figure out how are we going to make this happen. And there are 3 options. You can build a van yourself, buy a van pre-made, or have a contractor build the van you want. So we started by thinking about if we were going to build the van. And if we were going to build the van, it was going to be this guy building the van.
Yeah. Which I like that idea. I wanted to see how creative I could get and just kind of make it your own. But we ran into a lot of problems. One, I'm in nursing school. I don't have a lot of time, and you need a lot of time, especially if you don't have a lot of those skills already perfected, which I don't.
And then we also didn't have the tools or the space at our current home, so it just didn't seem like a good fit. And we decided to start looking at buying a van instead. Michael used this site, RV Trader. He was looking at it all the time. And eventually we started looking at vans together, and we were getting really excited about some vans. We really wanted some of them, but we'd always end up with different critiques. It wasn't tall enough, it didn't have this, it didn't have that, and the ones that we liked were kind of expensive. And so if we were going to spend that much money for a van, we wanted a van exactly the way we wanted it. So that's why we decided to go with a contractor. Okay, so finding a contractor for us was no walk in the park. There are plenty of contractors, it seems, on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, not so many. And a lot of them were overbooked. Michael did most of the searching.
I did. And the first place I started was explorevanx.com. Actually has a giant master list of van conversion companies that you can look through. So that's what I did. I looked through probably about 60 of them, and I found a few companies that I thought would fit our criteria the most for price and for the kind of style we're looking for. Once I did that, I contacted a few of them. Unfortunately, we were looking to leave this year in the summer, and most of them said they couldn't do anything for us until April 2022.
So thank goodness I came across Mango Vans and contacted them, and they had one more spot for the spring, and so we are lined up to be done around June with them. But before we could get working on a van with them, we had to have a van. So, this is the van we ended up buying, but it wasn't so easy to find. We had some very specific criteria. I didn't do much of the searching. That was mostly Michael. So Michael told them what we were looking for and how you found it.
Yeah, so if you've been looking for a van over the past year, it's been especially hard, and that's because the demand for van life is very high. we had problems finding vans that fit our criteria. We wanted, mileage to be less than 60. We wanted an extended van because we're tall. We want a high van because we're tall. Basically, we're very tall. But what made my search easy, and what will make your search easy, is these couple things that I did. So the first thing I did was I utilized the top vehicle search engines online. Those will be like Car Gurus or Edmunds or TrueCar.com. And what I did is I typed my criteria and then I saved it into each one of those websites. And then after that, I bookmarked each one of those websites. And then after that, each day, every day I would spend 10 to 15 minutes. I would just go up to each one of those bookmarks and click on them. And I could review the vehicles that I had seen in the past. And of course, the new ones would pop up. And that made it really easy for me to distinguish, okay, these ones were the ones I've looked at previously and they're still here, or maybe the price has dropped, which is always good. Or, hey, this hot new deal just popped up today and I better hop on it because they're going to be gone soon.
And I'm just sitting over there telling Michael, why don't we have a van yet? We need a van. Oh my gosh, we don't have a van yet.
And he's doing all this trying.
We were looking for specifically a Ford Transit too, because when Michael was working as an EMT, he was driving these ambulances that were Ford Transit cars. So he was familiar with the vehicle. We knew we needed the extension, the high roof, but finding it, like you said, was a bit of a journey. I did try to help. I contacted a national dealer. It was an idea that my Contractor Mango Vans had, was contact a national dealer, see what options they have, because they have a national outreach, and perhaps they can find the van and bring it to you and make the work a little easier for you. And they almost did. They had a van that we thought was great, but then the van got nabbed. And so it seems like these vans go really quick. If Amazon isn't buying them, then other people are. So it is something you kind of have to hop on. This exact van that we got, we ended up finding in Orlando. So Michael also had to drive 3 hours up there to pick it up and drive all the way back. And he did it all on his own, and he's such a champ for that.
We got lucky too, because the vans that we were looking at with our criteria were all over the United States. We were looking at vans in Illinois, and we're looking in the Northeast, you know. And so to find one that was 3 hours away, and also next to a friend who could kind of go over there and scope it out for us, that was very convenient and very lucky for us.
So now we have a van, and the next part was to figure out our plan for the van, or our design for the van. So when we were trying to figure out how we wanted to design our van, we had the luxury of being able to use YouTube as a tool. We watched so many hours of YouTube that I don't want to calculate it, and I probably couldn't. A lot of the YouTube beginnings were on tours. Eventually we were watching it at like 2 times speed, because a lot of these tours start blending together. There's not that much room in a van, and people typically want the same things: a kitchen, some sort of bathroom capability, a bed. So, it's really just where they put them is what changes, and then every once in a while you get a really cool, innovative idea that you go, dang, I want that for my van. And after we watched those videos, we started watching videos on what people regret about their van, because if they wish they had had that in their van, well, we can do it the first time and not have to deal with the regret later. Am I right? Most of the time, people were alarmed that they didn't think about bugs, and so one of the things we want is bug screens. They didn't have bathrooms, and now they wish they did. We will have a toilet and a shower. Some of them were upset that they couldn't control the temperature as well. We will have AC and a heater. And then the last thing that people had issues with was not being able to have additional seating for friends, which is something that we really want to incorporate. So I'm gonna take you back into this empty space and show you what we plan to do. Right now, there's nothing here, but imagine with me for a minute that all of this right here is a giant, luxurious bed. It's gonna come probably this far, because we want it to be about 6 feet, and then Michael's feet can hang over onto the countertop, because he's 6'3", and it'll be a lengthwise bed, but there will be a little crevice over here of space that we can use as cubbies for books or water. I always have to have water next to me while I sleep. Maybe put our phones in there. And then this last section will probably be a little flip up that we can drop our laundry in as a laundry chute. That's another thing we noticed from these videos, is people don't always think about their trash and their laundry and the things they don't want seen. So a laundry chute was one of our ideas. Underneath this giant space is going to be the garage. That's what they call it. They call it the garage. It's where you store stuff. On this side will be all of our water bank. It'll be 26 gallons about. And then on this side will be our battery bank. I think it's like a 300 watt something interchanger. I don't know the terms. This is why we have a contractor. Above, on this side of the van, we're gonna have overhead cabinets all the way across. But on this side, we will not. Number one, because Michael's sleeping over there and I don't want him bonking his head in the middle of the night. And also so that we have a feeling of more openness in the van. Now past the bed, if the bed ends here, this is where our cabinetry starts on either side. On this side, we're gonna have a full length closet. So we'll have a hanging section and 2 drawers. And slightly above the closet will be our master panel of, you know, how much the battery has left and, you know, the button to open the chassis underneath so that we can dump the water, that sort of fun stuff. And underneath the drawers will be our heater right here. Behind on the bed, we'll have some drawers here too. It'll cut into the garage space a little bit, but I think it'll be nice to be able to have a little more drawer storage because otherwise those 2 drawers are the only ones in here. On this side, there'll be a cabinet right here, but not just your normal cabinet. This cabinet will also be our bathroom. It'll be able to flip up and turn into a full-size shower, and we're gonna store in it our Laveo dry flush toilet, which I've already purchased, but it is back ordered, so it'll take 5 weeks to get here. Next to this cabinet, we'll have another cabinet that will have the sink. Now the sink is gonna kind of cut out into the door a little bit, but it's okay because this door could fit probably 3 people through it. We only need to fit 1 at a time. So even though the sink will cut out, that's fine. And the nice thing is because our shower and toilet area is a cabinet, most of the time we'll have extra counter space while we're cooking. Now when I turn around, we got that closet there, right? Next to the closet will be where our stand-up fridge is. A lot of people have the chest fridges, but we don't really like the idea of like digging through a chest fridge. We just like stand-up fridges. And above the fridge will be the induction cooktop. And then here's our fun like idea that not as many people do, but we really want this van to grow with us, grow with our family, and also be able to incorporate friends in our adventures. We're gonna have a flip down seat here, and we'll have one of those lagoon tables that'll be able to be here. These seats will both be able to swivel. We can also move the table over here so that it can extend that countertop space next to the sink area or even swivel out to go outside. Now, like I said, we'll have bug screens here, bug screens in the back. Windows, we'll have windows here and here that will be able to open with screens. We'll have an AC unit above our head, and above the bed, we'll have that max air fan. And on the roof will be the solar panel. So that is kind of the entire idea of our van right now. So far, obviously nothing has happened. We are finalizing details, and soon we will be taking this baby to Mango Vans. Here we go. Michael's gonna drive the van, I'm gonna drive our car, and we are gonna head down to Mango Vans to drop this baby off. So that is that, guys. The end of the story as of right now. In a couple months' time, we should be able to get our van back, and we'll give you a full tour. In the meantime, if you follow Mango Vans on Instagram, they do post their current projects, so you may see our van on there. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Bye, travelers!